We're talking about Twitter, racism, especially after the three events that happened with Tammy Abraham from Chelsea, Marcus Rashford, and Paul Pogba after they missed, three of them missed the penalties. The question is now, is Twitter doing enough in the UK to tackle the racism and abuse online?
Twitter's not making it clear what they're actually doing to try to cut down on the racist abuse that's targeted at footballers. They talk about it being a societal issue, and yes, it is. There are far deeper causes for the racism that is infecting football, and it's the fact that Twitter is seen as an outlet, the ability for people to spout such abuse. And I think what we want to hear from Twitter is just what exactly are they doing. We know there is a trending facility on Twitter. We know they have algorithms to work out what's trending. They must be able to put together algorithms that spot footballers and various terms of abuse, and that allows them to act quickly.
Now, there was some suggestion from Twitter themselves that they will put at least the 50 top footballers on alert to see if this is likely to be stopped. Is there something can be really done and can be stopped from their side?
Well, there's obviously a lot more than 50 footballers who are potentially the target of racist abuse, and there are many databases across the global game. If they wanted to get all the potential targets, they could get many, and they could get to form algorithms to actually work to put players' names and various terms of abuse. There are ways of cutting down on abuse that can be on the platforms. In Germany, they have an obligation to ensure they're not promoting neo-Nazi comments on there. But then in other countries, in the US, they could say it's running into conflict with freedom of speech. Obviously, we have a very different perspective in the UK, where in fact the police do investigate if a tweet can be racially abusive, inciting racial hatred.
Do you agree with the idea that some people say it's not only a sports issue in the modern time, it's a society issue? So what happens when you target players of black origins or from different minorities, it's a reflection of the political situation in the country itself.
So I think a lot of people might have got this assumption that racism has gone down in British society. The fact that we seem to have solved it in football was perhaps a view. In fact, it's a point that some have made. What we're seeing actually is, while we might not get it in the terraces directly to people's faces as overtly anymore, certainly we're seeing social networks are providing the platform for people to be able to seemingly, without fear of consequence, just spout a load of abuse. And maybe that's through no fear of the consequences, the fact you can set up an account so anonymously, and you do have to question why people resort to that. It's where this fieriness and banter between football fans goes to extremes that are offensive and just completely wrong.
And some players, including Harry Maguire, was suggesting the other day that maybe a Twitter account should be verified by a driving license or a real name. Is that something Twitter can accept, or is it gonna maybe destroy the business model they're having?
Yeah, a lot of Twitter's business is built on how many subscribers they get, how popular the network is. The thing is, would it be more commercially successful, even more so, if actually the quality of the content was better and there wasn't this toxicity that leads to so much negativity around the network? As for these identity checks, some might see them as idealistic to know just who the people are, but it does run into conflict with those in many parts of the world who use Twitter as a platform due to its anonymity, to be able to expose things, whether they're in countries that exposing your identity or fearing that your identity might be known, is problematic and would actually deter you from posting information that's actually quite valuable, sometimes of informing from certain places for whistleblowers and such forth. So it might seem idealistic to many people to have identity checks, but actually it's very difficult and runs into a lot of civil liberties issues as well at the same time.